Welcome to another episode of The Raw Truth. As always, I'm your host, BX Bad Boy. Today, it's No Justice 2. I have a follow-up to No Justice. Stay tuned. Okay, so today I want to start off talking about No Justice 2 on the basis that now my father lost his disability or classification as disabled from workman's compensation 24 years later. They're saying he's no longer disabled. So they took his money, took his medical insurance, and now he's in the hospital. Well, now they moved him to rehab to be rehabilitated to come home from whatever was wrong with him they never determined. And he's delusional to the point where he's not sound mind to really make decisions for himself. And he's gonna have trouble paying the rent, buying himself food, and there's little to nothing I can do. As long as he's not sound of mind, we can't do power of attorney. Power of attorney, for those of you who don't know, that allows me the ability to fight on his behalf. The only thing left is to file for guardianship, which is another process, and if the judge gives me the ability to also then fight on his behalf. This is the world we've come to. So he gets no justice. And so now his Medicare will only cover 20 days in this rehab. And if we don't fix him before then, that he's, sound mind and safe to come home, where he'll make sound decisions and not hurt himself or anyone else without going in and out. In 20 days, he's going to be billed for staying there until he's safe to come home. Or I take him home whether he's fit to come home or not. This is the world I live in. It's the world we live in. My father's not special. I mean, he is, but what I mean is there's other fathers just like him, in the same predicament as him, and being ridiculed and neglected as same as him. Like I said in my previous video, me and my father, we're like brothers that can't stand each other, but he's still my father. And he doesn't deserve this. Maybe to get it beaten by my hands, but I mean, that's personal between me and him. But as a human being, he doesn't deserve this. While he's in the hospital, they took away all his workman's compensation and medical coverage. And he doesn't even know. And I refuse to tell him because I don't want him losing his shit in there. He's already having problems controlling it. Thanks, Trump, by the way, for that $200. It's going to help him out a lot. Thanks. Oh, wait. He ain't getting that $200. And that $200 is shit. So, you're adding to the no justice, Trump. My father fought for this country. And now this country's fighting him. This is how we reward our veterans. Shit, this is how we reward human beings, apparently, these days. Like I said before, I don't have any direct connection to Biden. Like, I don't like or dislike Biden. I don't have any direct feelings about the man. But my 11-year-old would do a better job than Donald piece of shit Trump. We need to get out and vote. We need to vote him out. I don't care if we vote in a real chimpanzee. As long as we vote him out. before he kills us. He's already killed 200,000. And I'll make it 200,000 because the ones before it might have been killed by the virus regardless if Trump did his job or not. Maybe. So I'll give him a little slack on 10,000. But the other 200,000, all him. And the ignorant fools that think otherwise are exactly that, ignorant fools. And I still think you deserve justice, but I think you need to see justice. But the problem is, you guys are unblindfolding justice by stacking the Supreme Court with more conservatives by far than any other belief structure. There should be no belief structure on there. It's supposed to be all about the law, not about, I think she shouldn't be wearing a tutu. No, it's not supposed to be about our feelings. It's about the law and what makes sense. There's supposed to be a morality to it, but that's not necessarily a religious morality. Just a morality. We all know right from wrong. It had nothing to do with the Bible or not the Bible. I know I don't want you to hurt me, so I don't hurt you. That's as far as we need to go with it. But again, no justice. Everybody can get away with anything because the Democrats are pussies and they're not going to put up the fight they need to. And Republicans are scumbags. Plain and simple. And there's no other way around it. It is what it is. Stupid phone making all this noise. So I usually turn it off. But it's a noisy little thing. Anyway, the Democrats are not going to put up the fight they're supposed to. They're going to back down. Like the voting boxes that the Republicans are putting out. I don't really hear shit about anything legal being done. Democrats are letting that one slide, letting that become a local matter. That's an entire country matter. Just because we don't know about something, that doesn't mean it isn't going on. If the Republicans in California are doing it, there's Republicans somewhere else that are probably following suit, especially with Trump not telling him to stop. I would have hoped by the time my son got old enough, justice would still be blind. But there is no justice. As I said before, nothing but revenge and spite. How could we hate each other so much that we would dare, and I mean dare, unblindfold justice? I know hate very well. I may not be able to put my hate aside in an argument or a fight, but on the grander scheme, I have and will put it to the side for the greater good. Why can't you? It just seems like the right thing to do. But apparently Republicans and Democrats disagree. You fucking dingbats think it's okay to hate each other and let that be the defining factors. It's gotten to the point that Republicans hate Democrats so much that it doesn't matter who the Republican president is. Hence Donald Trump. They will still vote for him if the other opponent as anything else, but especially if it's a Democrat. And then there's Democrats that are exactly the same way. No matter how horrible the Democratic nominee is, they'll vote for that Democratic nominee, even if the Republican douche is exactly what the Democratic voter wants. But just to say that the Republicans didn't win, it makes me sick. Especially since there's no such thing as a Democrat or a Republican. There's some issues that Republicans and Democrats are on the same fucking table for. I want chocolate chips, so does that asshole. But he wants his chocolate chips in chocolate ice cream, and I want it in milk chocolate ice cream. In a lot of the cases, that's the difference between Democrats and Republicans. It depends on the issue. A comedian said it best. My daughter, I'm conservative as a motherfucker about. You can't even see her ankles. But your daughter, I'm very liberal. And that's what it really boils down to. It depends on what the subject is. If it's about my daughter, of course I'm going to be more protective of my daughter than yours. In my case, it's like if I had a choice, my daughter lives or dies, or your daughter lives or dies, I'm going to lean towards my daughter. But in the general sense, no. Your daughter is just as special as mine. And that goes the same for sons. My son is not better than anyone else's son to me. I treat all children the same, within reason, as I do my son. And what I mean by that is I can raise my son any way I see fit. Other people's children, I don't have that authority in most cases. In some cases I do, and then I treat them exactly the same way I treat my child. Put them in their place when they need to be, and I let them free when it's need to be. Other people's children, it's not always the same. But my point is this, the value of your son and daughter versus my son and daughter, no difference. To me personally, there's a difference. And we're talking about a minute, meaning I have a brownie, my son asks for the brownie, then your son asks for the brownie. If I don't split that bitch in half, my son's getting the brownies. But if it was who's to live, who's to die, my son or yours, I wouldn't be able to make that decision. As sick as it may sound, I would flip a coin. Now, that's if, and mind you, if there aren't defining factors like your son's a rapist, a murderer, and a killer, and a child abuser, and all these things that need justice on. I'm not going to weigh that life force against my son who has done nothing. No. Sorry. But in a general sense, son versus son wouldn't exist. I couldn't do it. Because your son's life is just as valuable as my son's. To me. Just like your life is just as valuable to me as my own. And in some cases, my life is less valuable to me than others. Because I stick my neck out enough. But my father's life, apparently, holds very little value. I sent in the medical records showing them that my father is still disabled from the accident that happened in 1997. And they sent back, meh, and they cut him off. So as of 10/10, my father has no health insurance and no income other than Social Security. that doesn't amount to much. And now I'm just hoping he regains some excuse me, some similarity to what he was before. Whatever happened to him, because they still haven't figured it out. I wish I had some better news or a better story to tell, but I don't. I will be continuing my series on Marvel vs. DC. If you're still interested in watching, there will be another episode of that. I'll probably be doing the next episode by myself, and probably the episode after that will be with my co-host. I thought I had a potential guest. Haven't heard much from that potential guest. It's some gentleman who messaged me on Instagram, or it might have been a female, didn't say. I'm assuming it was a male the way it spoke, or the way they spoke, not it. But who knows? An individual, just call it that. An individual spoke to me on Instagram, and I offered them to join us in a 3 debate. And we all discuss DC versus Marvel and have a conversation about it. They haven't answered to that exactly yet, and maybe they will, maybe they won't. Say yes, mind you. They'll answer. And maybe we'll have a third guest. Or first guest, actually. I have a lot of episodes that played and created in my head, and the components are taken out of it and rearranged when things don't work out the way they should, or could, or would. So, I've had episodes that are in the works with guests that I haven't said yes yet. So I already know how that's going to turn out, if it goes forward. I haven't gotten a guess for this yet, because people think this is depressing. And nobody wants to talk politics. They're all afraid of it. I'm not afraid of it, because I'm not really talking politics as much as I'm talking versus what the fuck. So, on that note, we will be ending the episode here until the next one. Bye.